Happy Thursday to you. What a long week this week has been. It feels like it's been a really long time since we sat on the couch and came to visit with you, but we are glad to be here. It's Thursday and it's a beautiful day outside. I don't know if you've had a chance to be outside today. It will probably still be light out by the time we're done. You can still go for a little walk around the block. But we are just so glad that you're here with us today. You know, it's like I said, it's been a week, and I think the reality is starting to set in a little bit. Would you say? It's, you know, you're starting to find hopefully a bit of a rhythm. We're still finding ours here at home, and in terms of getting up and getting to school for the kids and a new work routine and all of that stuff. And so, you know, we're just so thankful that you've chosen to spend this little bit of time with us tonight. And hopefully that you will feel that a little bit of a sense of community here with us. You know, this isn't all that we hope that you're taking advantage of. I know I heard today that there's a small group that is talking about meeting using Zoom, which is like how do you say? Oh, it's that. Oh, I lost the word. Anyways, it's like Skype, but apparently it's better. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it very much, but you can do like video conference. I think that's what it's called, video conferencing, and you can meet with your small group. I know the Tuesday night prayer group from the church has also been meeting that way or they've done it one time where they met this past Tuesday using Zoom and they prayed together. And you know, if you're part of a small group and no one in your group has initiated meeting with Zoom, how about you? You be the guy to suggest it. I haven't brushed up on it personally, but I think that seems like it's fairly easy to use. So I'm sure there's online tutorials, whatever you can find what you're looking for. And so you can see other people's faces besides just ours. Hopefully you've had the chance to text a friend today or to call someone, maybe not even someone that you would normally consider a friend, but someone that you could reach out to. We just really, really need to stay connected at this time where it's so also important to be socially apart from one another.
So as Becky mentioned, it's good to be active, and so thanks for joining us. I'm looking out my living room window and I see it is light, and so there's going to be time for you to go for a walk afterwards. So please enjoy this time and then go for a walk or just be active and enjoy that. On social media, I had posted that I was going to get my son Ethan to help me chip away some of the ice at the corner of our street and drain the water, and so I've been working on that for the last couple of days. So for those of you who would notice that, I'm doing that as well. So the warm weather is going, and hopefully that's going to keep working and make my job a little easier as well. So that's fun. Becky mentioned Zoom, and this last couple of weeks I've been taking part in some Zoom meetings, and that's been interesting. Yesterday I was in a Zoom meeting with Vision Ministries guys, this church planting network across Canada that we're involved with, and it's really neat to hear how the rest of the country is doing and just some of the particular struggles and challenges and some of the good things that are going on as well, and how various churches are doing things. So I think some of that is going to leach into what I'm going to say in the next couple of weeks. It was just interesting to hear how Canadian churches are handling this slowdown. During the Zoom conference, one of the guys just kind of offhandedly said something that just kind of caught my attention, and I wrote it down. He said, "Disruptions always bring new learning. Disruptions always bring new learning." So that's true in medicine and technology and communication. We're problem solvers, right? We're always looking for new ways to do old things or new ways to do new things, and we're creating capacities and new habits and practices and whatnot. And these are really, really good things. So that's the upside of this coronavirus crisis, this social distancing and all that. Well, how are we going to do all these workarounds and things like that? So the upside is there's new things happening, and there's new capacities and abilities, and there's new growth possibilities, and that's really good. But as I was thinking, there's always a flip side, isn't there? There's always not just new growth, but things we're having to let go of things, right? And so if you had plans in the spring or the early summer, you're beginning to realize that a lot of those have been canceled, and some of them have been suspended, put on hold. Graduations, weddings, trips, and on all these things, and some of these things are needing to be canceled. And I was thinking, it's not just events, but it's institutions, it's businesses, and we know that people are dying from coronavirus as well. And so this is a time of not just new possibilities, but the flip side is there's some real challenges, and there's some real grieving and lament that needs to go on, because there's endings, there's new beginnings, and there's endings. And so I think in these coming days, we need to make room for both. I think we need to be excited about new challenges and possibilities and opportunities, but also we need to make room in our lives and make room in our families and relationships and friendships and churches for the capacity and for the time and space to properly grieve and lament and say, you know what? Life's changing, I'm out of my routine, and the familiar is gone, and I'm not feeling okay about it, or I'm not doing okay, and I'm sad that this had to be canceled, or sad I can't be at that particular event, or gathering with my church family, or just a number of things, and we can be, it's okay to not be okay, right? And we have the chance, I think, as a church family, as family and friends and neighbors and Canadians to take a moment and say, yeah, we can lament this as well. The Bible is an amazing resource for both of these events, I think, for both of these experiences, not just new challenges and possibilities, but also to lament some of these chapters that are ending. And so there's the history of God's people is certainly one of lots of hard times, and also times of challenge as well, and triumph. So there's lament and joy and celebration. The book of Psalms are full of songs and poems about sadness, about betrayal, about grief, all about joy and celebration, and how much God is with us in the good times and the bad times. And so it's wonderful to have those Psalms. So again, if you're experiencing a lot of those kinds of things, I would just encourage you to dive into the book of Psalms and to really avail yourself of that great resource that the church has. So I was thinking about what to say today, and I was looking at the book of Jeremiah. And Jeremiah, he was a bearer of bad news. He was a guy who had a job to tell God's people at a particular time in their history when they had spiraled away, when they had left God, when they were indulging in all kinds of cultural wickedness, and they had just lost even the memory of what it was to be a faithful follower of God. And it was Jeremiah's job to tell the people that God's judgment, that these consequences were going to be upon them. And it's a very sobering book. It's a very difficult book in a lot of ways to read, but woven throughout those stories and those songs and those laments of God's judgment coming is this wonderful story of hope. God is going to bring judgment, but he's also bringing restoration as well. And so Jeremiah 31, if you have your Bibles, you can turn there, but Jeremiah 31 is this amazing bit of looking into the future and looking to see what God is going to do despite the present circumstances. Despite the bad times, there's something good coming, and God is a God who will bring those things into our life. So Becky's going to read Jeremiah 31, 7 to 14.
Jeremiah 31, verse 7. This is what the Lord says. Sing with joy for Jacob. Shout for the foremost of the nations. Make your praises heard and say, Lord, save your people, the remnant of Israel. See, I will bring them from the land of the north and gather them from the ends of the earth. Among them will be the blind and the lame, expectant mothers and women in labor. A great throng will return. They will come with weeping. They will pray as I bring them back. I will lead them beside streams of water on a level path where they will not stumble, because I am Israel's father, and Ephraim is my firstborn son. Hear the word of the Lord, you nations. Proclaim it in distant coastlands. He who scattered Israel will gather them and will watch over his flock like a shepherd. For the Lord will deliver Jacob and redeem them from the hand of those stronger than they. They will come and shout for joy on the heights of Zion. They will rejoice in the bounty of the Lord, the grain, the new wine, and the olive oil, the young of the flocks and the herds. They will be like a well-watered garden. They will sorrow no more. Then young women will dance and be glad, young men and old as well. I will turn their mourning into gladness. I will give them comfort and joy instead of sorrow. I will satisfy the priests with abundance, and my people will be filled with my bounty, declares the Lord.
Thanks. I love the Bible. I love all these stories, and the theme that gets repeated time and time and time and time again is individuals, families, nations wandering away from God, and God, like a shepherd, like a father, going out and finding them, bringing them back. This constant cycle of falling away, repenting, and being restored. And it goes throughout the Bible and throughout the book of Jeremiah as well. It's in there. So just a couple quick observations, and then we'll all go for a walk. Number one, did you notice how everybody gets noticed? How everybody gets included in that? The blind, the lame, expectant, and women giving birth, the old, the young, everybody gets included. The disadvantaged, the vulnerable, the ones who are normally left behind, the ones who are normally lost in the shuffle, everybody gets included, regardless of age, ability, gender. God sees you, and you're a part of his plan. You're not outside his plan. That's the great opportunity. That's the great invitation of the gospel, that the invitation is for anybody and everybody. God sees you. You're part of his plan. Secondly, did you notice that the images of new growth and abundance? I just love all those things. Lush pastures, rich harvests, gardens bursting with growth, and most amazingly for Winnipeggers, because it's it's pothole season. It's potluck season too.
Too bad.
It's pothole season. Smooth paths, and that's something that Winnipeggers we don't know a whole lot about. But I love all those images about how God is caring for his people. God's caring for his flock. God has a plan of restoration, and even in the midst of all this challenge and fear and frustration and just not knowing the future, just to know that God is a God who restores, and he has a plan, and this plan includes anybody who responds to the invitation. Isn't that just amazing to know that we could be part of this plan of wholeness and redemption and bringing back? And whatever the present circumstances are, that does not have the last word. God has the last word. And the last word is hope. Lastly, after mourning and sorrow come joy and gladness. And I love this. God is the God of comfort. He has gone looking for us, we who are lost, we who are cut adrift, we who are isolated, socially distanced, and he's looking to restore us and to bring us back into relationship and back into friendship with him and his people as well. So maybe boredom has set in. Becky was talking about this new routine we're all supposed to be getting back into, but maybe that's settling in, and you're looking around and you're hearing all the news that's coming in almost like minute by minute, just talking about more bad news and the kind of gloomy prognostications about this and that. When's this going to end? And it goes on and on and on. And maybe you're starting to feel a little anxious as well. Maybe you're starting to feel like, when is this going to get back to the old normal? And when's it going to be back to a dependable kind of routine? And you're starting to have that churning sense of unease. And it's good to, and necessary, I think, to remind ourselves who God is and what He's done for us in the past and what He plans to do for us in the future. And just to be able to rest in that as well, regardless of what's going on outside, regardless of what the newscasters and social media has to say, we know that the safest place to be is in God's hands. I was doing a deep dive on YouTube the other day, and I got into this Southern Gospel vein, and so I was listening to a bunch of Southern Gospel songs, and there was this one great old Southern Gospel song I listened to a couple of times because it just had such a wonderful title, and the chorus was just such a wonderful truth. And so maybe if you go deep diving, you can find that as well. And the title was, "I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand." And I love that. I don't need to know all the details, but I know the one who is going to hold my hand throughout all those uncertain days. Music's great to listen to. I hope you listen to a lot these days. Good music, music that's pointing the way to truth and hope and wholeness. But what's even better than listening to music is singing music as well. And so that is Becky's cue. And so Becky is going to lead us in a couple of songs. And so she's going to play. And I would encourage you to sing along.
I chose a couple of songs that hopefully you know really well, because you'll either have to know the lyrics by memory or you can maybe quickly look them up. We're going to sing "Great is Thy Faithfulness," because it's just such an important truth for us to remember. And then we'll sing "You Are My All in All." I think those are songs that hopefully you'll know well. And, we just have heard from so many people that you're missing singing together. And this isn't exactly that, but hopefully you'll be blessed by joining in.
There is no shadow of turning.
Sorry for the cutoff there. Remember, stay connected on social media with yourselves and friends and family, and also with your church family as well. Do yourself a favor, phone and email somebody as well. For those of you who are from Charleswood, phone the church office, email, just let them know if there's a specific need. If you don't go to Charleswood, phone your church family as well, and let them know if there's a need that you have. It's important that we reach out and that we serve each other as well. Friends, we'll see you at 11 o'clock on Sunday. Thank you for bearing with us with our technical difficulties and all the things that we work through. You're dealing with the same thing, and so it's great to see you. And thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you Sunday at 11 o'clock.